Hello everybody, welcome to my new Sunday market breakdown. As usually, we go over the DXY on daily chart. So last week what I was saying was that we were possible back again in a bearish market, but that weekly pattern and pattern was against us. So we were at these highs, we had this bearish W, so we tapped it daily highs. And then what did we made? We made here a first leg, second leg, third leg above it. So a first time break here. We broke above this lower high wicks with this break here. So we expected a pullback till this previous structure, which was resistance that could become support, which it did, and we went to the upside. So now we are making higher highs and higher lows. So this is a new high, low, higher high. So we have now that bullish M, that continuational pattern that can potentially play out. So what I can see is if I drew my Fibonacci from this low till this high, minus 27 round number is aligning at this daily beginning of correction here, these highs where the sellers can kick in from. And we can see the price already rejected from that 61.80. We just tapped it on the 4 hour, as you can see with the 4 hour bullish candle. So if I delete my fib, the second thing we can potentially do, so we had here our resistance and we are now tapping that as support. So potentially we can receive now a push to the upside to this daily TP, or we can go lower till this daily supply and demand zone here, where the new liquidity can be found. As you can see here, these are some resistance wicks, support wicks, resistance, resistance, resistance here, support. So this can be your next daily supply and demand zone, as the first one didn't hold. So if I go over the weekly, on the weekly chart, you can see that the supply and demand zone is holding the price up, and we acted as support previous week, which is nice. So for me, that's a supply and demand zone that is working for us, acting here as resistance, resistance, resistance here, resistance when we are above it as support, small resistance weak, resistance, support, and here the IC, nice that this IC is sitting here, and also here is resistance. So it's a clear supply and demand zone that can hold the price up from there, aligning with the daily supply and demand zone here. So for me, the trend is actually still bearish, not confirmed bullish, because you had here your previous lower high, lower low. We had here kind of false break of this high zones, and now we are pushing above it. So I understand why people will say we have here a pattern within a pattern. And yeah, we made here the shoulder one, head, shoulder two, and we are now making that bullish M here. So I understand why they say it's bullish. For me, it's still not yet confirmed bullish. Only if we break it here with the new high of this zone, then it's for me bullish. So we can see that candle close can potentially play against us here, this red one. But yeah, for me, we are tapping the supply and demand zone. This is just a doji, so potentially it can play for you now, because that supply and demand zone can hold the price up. And yeah, the fib from this low here to this high can play for you. We are in the fib levels, aligning with that. That 61.80 was holding very nicely. So really nice to see the push to the upside. And then the supply and demand zone for you. So minimum a 2 out of 4 for me. If you say the candle curve is just doji, then it's a 2 out of 4 for me. So the daily was clear. We have a bullish M. We want to see now a push to the upside. And on the 4 hour, we can see we made the kind of first time break of this previous higher low, higher high. Made that first time break, but this is just indicational. And then we are making higher highs and higher lows for now. So this is your kind of ascending trend line, structural ascending trend line holding the price up for the moment for the DXY to go to the upside. Then the first trade I'm looking at Euro GBP, and This is a trade I'm already involved at. So if I go over the daily of a pattern within a pattern, you had here your shoulder one, head, shoulder two within that, a first leg, second leg, third leg, fourth leg coming back, already tapping the daily supply and demand zone. Really nice buyers sitting here. Buyers, 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 and buyers again, respecting that zone. So really nice to see that. So a small pattern within a pattern. I just took my limit previous week. Then on the weekly, what you can see for me, the fib from this low to this high is working for you. So this is a green one, and the supply and demand zone, this whole zone here, really big buyer sitting there, really nice supply and demand zone acting here as a false break, support, resistance, false break here again, support, support, resistance, support, resistance here, support, support, support. So it's a really big support buying region that can push to the upside, aligning with that shoulder one here, head, shoulder two. We can go to that daily minus 27. It's also aligning the weekly minus 27 from this low to this high. It's aligning there, so it's the same TP level. So the supply and demand zone is also for us, and the market structure is still against me because you had here a high, low, high, new low. This is your major bearish W. This is your inner structure, is your smaller structure on its own. So yeah, I don't see that as a real structure on itself because this is your last leg to the downside. So this is your bearish W still. That's why. And the candle close, this red one, this upcoming week is for me bearish. Even if we tap that weekly zone, it's still looking bearish for me. So 2 out of 4 still clear to go. And daily was clear for us. Pattern within a pattern. And then I went to the 4 hour. And what you can see on the 4 hour is a potential bullish M as a scale in. You had your first leg, second leg, third leg, and fourth leg potentially coming back to this 4 hour higher low here, where you can take the trade 1 pip to the upside. And if I go to the 2 hour, it's yeah, a little bit the same. And on the 1 hour, it's also a little bit the same. So on the 4 hour, it's clear that this can potentially be a bullish M. If I go over the line chart, you can see first leg, second leg, third leg, potential fourth leg coming back. So you can take your limit and your stop loss just 5 pips below this week because this was a liquidity week and a new action week from the daily previous low here. So you can see also from here this week, it's just not a new action from it, but for me here, I was doing this horizontal line on this daily low, and you can see we went below it. We made a new liquidity wick there, new action, and went to the upside. So I take 5 pips below this wick here, and it's around 14.2 pips. Then it will be enough, and then we can go to the upside. Then the next one, Cadjpy. For me, a potential pattern within a pattern. For me, it's a big one because it's now already depending a longer time to potentially tap this zone. So for me, it would be a really big one. And then you have here your shoulder one, head, shoulder two within that first leg, second leg, third leg, potential fourth leg coming back in A, B, C correction. We can already see impulse correction, potential impulse again. And if I take my fib from this high to this low, you have here a minus 60, 80 aligning with also this supply and demand zone acting as resistance here, support, small resistance weak here, and potential support for going to the upside. If I go to the weekly now, the weekly for me is a nice setup to take. So if I delete this fib like this, so for me, the trend is bullish. The candle close is bullish here. So the trend, I will go over it. For me, this is your low, high, low, high, low. And here it's just same high. So for me, potential same high, same lows. Or you have that shoulder one here, this head, shoulder two. This can also be your pattern in a pattern. But for me, this is a IC, so I can draw my horizontal weekly line there. This will be your supply and demand zone, and the price can come back to that shoulder one, aligning with that supply and demand zone and going back to the upside. So the trend is bullish there. Trend is bullish. Candle close. This one is also bullish. Potential false break of these weekly highs here that can push the price to the downside. So that's the reason why I'm also looking for this pattern in a pattern. And then a fib from this low to this high can also play for you, or this fib that is still active from this low to this high. I think we just tapped, yeah, the minus 6080 here. So this is your fib completion here also. But if I drew here that zone from this low to this high, you can see we can tap that zone. So then I will count the fib for me. And then the supply and demand zone isn't tapped yet, like the fib, but actually we can also draw out that the supply and demand zone will be tapped because we will tap it on our daily zone of interest. So a 4 out of 4 potentially. Uh, yes, like that. And on the 4 hour, what can we see? The trend is changing from momentum. We are at this, or we were at this previous higher low. We had a higher high, and we had the first time break. And now you can see the price at this impulse and this correction to the upside for a potential new run to the downside to the daily minus 68 if it completion that shoulder one. Then the next one, the last one, USDCHF. So on the daily, I expect a more corrective nature to this daily IC. We have here a potential first leg, second leg, third leg, fourth leg, coming back to that IC, which is working mostly of the time as a magnet. If I go to the weekly, on the weekly, we have now a potential selling zone against us. If I put this blue box here at this highs, you can see it's a selling zone. And if I drew it further, and a little bit further, you can see here it's acting as clear support, here also as resistance, support here. You can see it also as a potential resistance, and it can hold also as resistance here. But if I put a horizontal line at our daily zone here, you can see this was acting as resistance when we are above it as support, when we are below it as resistance, when we are closing on it as support, we went to the upside. And here, this was just a false break of it, and we went a little bit back to the upside and then to the downside. And now here we have the same thing, we are closing on it, like here, and the price pushed to the upside, like this candle, and we went more to the upside from there. So I expect a potential support from this zone, and then we can push further to the upside. So I see this as my supply and demand zone. I can understand why people will say, yeah, it's too small. I understand. But that daily bullish M and I see there can take some liquidity. And if you look further back here, also, this was also some clear support that triggered some buyers. This was holding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks. So yeah. And if I go further back, here was also some buyers, but this was already in 2012 and here also in 2011. So this is not relevant, but yeah, you can see it as a supply and demand. So like that. So then the trend is still for us. The trend, you have here your first leg, second leg, third leg, potential fourth leg coming back. That's a potential pullback that can happen. Also, we have that fifth completion, so we can also expect a more corrective nature. So this trade can be a losing trade because we have now that overextension of the price and we can have that pullback to the downside, aligning with that selling zone also. So I want to risk that trade, no problem for me. So we have a 2 out of 4. The trend for us, candle close here at the selling zone. So this can be seen as bearish because we have a rejection of that zone. A fib is also against us, the fib completion and a supply and demand. So potentially this one can hold the price up So 2 out of 4 for that long. Daily was clear. We want to see the price coming back to that IC, and on the 4 hour, we can see the price is potentially making a shoulder one here, head, shoulder two, first leg, second leg, third leg, fourth leg coming back. So if I take my fib from this high till this low, then we have a kind of fib completion, not in a daily zone of interest, but it's in that region. So the daily is there clear. If I take my daily fib from this high till this low, then the minus 68 is aligning with the daily IC. So this is more relevant. So I expect the price to come back after potentially tapping this shoulder one zone, head shoulder two, and then we can go to the downside. As you can see, impulse, correction, potential impulse again, and then potential fresh liquidity to go to the upside. So this was my SMB. I hope you liked it and see you next week. Bye.